just coming over here to check the lighting to see. How are you? Yeah, it's great. I can't wait to talk to y'all about it. We just been. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Jimmy Hartley. I'm the sub-dean and canon pastor here at Trinity Cathedral, and I speak for both Dane Boston, our dean, and the people of Trinity when I say that it is an honor to welcome you into this holy space for the More Justice Rally. Just a matter of housekeeping or maybe getting your bearings, if you need to use the restroom, please do avail yourselves of it. It's through this south transept door. Once you go through onto the porch, it is back into the old parish house, down the first hall on the right. You'll see it, I promise. There's a fair amount of turns and twists, but just through this door to the left, through the double doors, first hallway down on your right. There is something about this evening as we continue to work together toward a more just community that speaks to the reality of a good God's desire for all of God's people, that our lives may be known through our love for God. And because of this, that our lives may be known through and with our neighbors. A kind of knowing that draws out in us our authentic selves. A kind of knowing that unites one to another in the midst of our diversity and uniqueness. A kind of love, a kind of knowing that enacts mercy. A kind of knowing that seeks justice for all of God's beloved children. We are 4 weeks from the Nehemiah Action, where we will be at our most impactful as a justice network. After listening sessions and research and organizing of people and funds, it is now time to take action. So tonight we are here for 2 reasons. The first is to get organized for our Nehemiah Action. When we speak with one voice, we speak from the foundation of an organized and united people. That is what we prepare for all year and why we make decisions together every step of the way. The second reason for tonight is to get excited. There are serious community issues that impact ourselves and our neighbors. So we're here called together this evening under a common purpose to express our indignation and anger over the current state of gun violence and affordable housing issues and food insecurity. We are also here to get excited about our hopefulness for what will change as our community comes together, seeking a better and more just place for all to live. So let us prepare our hearts and minds to this rally today and press together for a strong showing at our Nehemiah Action. And as always, let us begin our time this evening with prayer. God of all creation, our steps are ordered by you in this work of doing justice. We thank you for the opportunity to gather here in this sacred space at this appointed time. As we embark upon this rally and the Nehemiah Action, stir our hearts and minds to remain steadfast and unmovable in your call for us to do justice. By your goodness, inspire in us hopefulness that a better and more just community will come to bear. This we pray in your most holy name. Amen.
Good evening. My name is Morgan Lee, and I'm a team leader here at Trinity, as well as serving as co-president for More Justice. I personally confirmed 5 people to attend the Nehemiah Action with me as participants.
And my name is Reverend Jackie Utley, pastor of Ascension Lutheran Church, and I also serve as a co-president. I have personally confirmed 4 people to attend the Nehemiah Action with me as participants.
Please turn to page 2 of your agenda packet, if you would. And during our time here, when we hold up a number, we ask that you say the corresponding quote with us off of page 2 of your agenda.
On the steps of the Lincoln Memorial in 1963, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave the I Have a Dream speech. How many of you here know that speech or familiar with that speech? Showing of hands. In the same year, Dr. King wrote the letter from the Birmingham jail. How many of you are familiar with that document or have read that document? Both of these documents are important records of the civil rights struggle through which many of us lived. Yet, the lesser-known letter provides critical instruction for us in our campaign of direct action for the Midlands.
It was Good Friday, 1963, when a group of moderate white clergy published an open letter to Dr. King questioning his tactics. A few months earlier, this same group of clergy had published an open letter urging the segregationists to refrain from violence against the black community. So they felt justified in writing again, this time urging the civil rights movement to stay calm and civil and to be patient. Here's a quote from their letter. We recognize the natural impatience of people who feel that their hopes are slow in being realized, but we're convinced that these demonstrations are unwise and untimely.
For those in positions of power, it is almost never the right time to deal with serious community problems. It is much easier to promote beautiful new parks and luxury downtown apartments than it is to deal with the affordable housing crisis and the rising rates of gun violence and food insecurity. So, in response to the calls for patience, Dr. King wrote the letter from a Birmingham jail. All right. So Dr. King said, and you were instructed that, I'm going to have you say this with me. Quote number 1. Quote number 1 on page 2. Dr. King said, let's say it together. We know through painful experience that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Frankly, I have yet to encourage the direct action campaign that was well timed in the view of those who have not suffered unduly from the disease of segregation.
Dr. King brushes aside the concerns about patience by observing that freedom has never been given by virtue of a suggestion. It took 10 plagues for Pharaoh to let my people go. It took a civil war to end slavery. It took sustained action on the part of millions to overturn Jim Crow. What these movements have in common is a shared understanding of why they were organizing and a clear vision of what they wanted. They were united in their action. That's what we want to do on March the 18th. Have one voice for more justice. Dr. King continued, say it with me, quote number 2. We who engage in nonviolent direct action are not the creators of tension. We merely bring to the surface the hidden tension that is already alive. We bring it out in the open where it can be seen and dealt with.
As we hear the cries of our people, we are told that changes we are asking for take time and to be patient. But with over 16,000 families needing affordable homes, at least 65,000 people not knowing where their next meal is coming from, and shootings steadily going up every year for the last 8 years. Being patient means telling suffering families to wait. We don't have time to be patient because our fight for justice is how we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. And we cannot sit around and wait for the right time to live up to the great commandment. Okay, Dr. King said it's now quote number 3 on page 2. Congregations were very powerful. In those days, they were not merely a thermometer that recorded the ideas and principles of popular opinion. It was a thermostat that transformed the morals of society.
See, if we're going to be a thermostat, and we're going to set the tone for the values in our community, then our congregations must turn up the heat to create change. When we raise the heat, we may be persecuted for righteousness' sake. We may be called names or told our tactics are problematic. And just as the congregations in Birmingham wanted to stay comfortable, that is our temptation today. But we are in a crisis. And whether our officials respond or not, God expects us to act. I want to hear a yes on this one. Are you willing to experience some discomfort to fight for justice? Yes. Dr. King said, and say it with me, quote number 4, nonviolent direct action seeks to create such a crisis and establish such creative tension that a community that has constantly refused to negotiate is forced to confront the issue. It can no longer be ignored.
That is Dr. King's purpose in writing the letter, to challenge us to take action. And that is exactly what we are here tonight to do, to prepare for a Nehemiah action that will uncover the crisis that already exists in our community. We will create such a crisis that our public officials have to deal with it. We must confront the perception that peace is the absence of tension, because true peace is the presence of justice. We're here to claim that righteous tension, whether it's the tension on stage at the Nehemiah action or the tension that we feel when one of us takes a deep breath and asks a friend to miss book club on March 18th.
Friends, have any of you made a serious personal lifestyle change without confronting a crisis? Whether it's getting healthy or changing spending habits or turning your life to God, there's usually some precipitating event. Well, if the governing bodies in Columbia are going to have a lifestyle change where we prioritize the lives and well-being of all our citizens, we have to create that precipitating event, that crisis, for our officials so that they make the necessary improvements. Dr. King said, quote number 5, say it with me. Dr. King said, human progress never rolls in on wheels of inevitability. It comes through the tireless efforts of men willing to be co-workers with God. And without this hard work, time itself becomes an ally of the forces of social stagnation.
Justice is not inevitable. If we give up, there is no law that says that our city will naturally get better for the citizens that need it the most. Affordable housing won't spontaneously rise up out of the ground. Grocery stores will not suddenly be all over the 29203 area. Gun violence will not go away quietly. Justice requires sustained action. Sounding a prophetic voice is sacred work, the work we are called to do. So, are you willing to be a co-worker with God?
Yes.
Are you willing to bring the crisis we're living to our public officials and challenge our broken systems?
Yes.
Are you willing to be a witness to this crisis at your congregation and to challenge others to take action with you?
Yes.
And let all the people say,
Amen.
Amen.
Good evening. My name is Evelyn Moore, and I am a team leader from Gill Creek Baptist Church. I have personally confirmed 4 people to attend the Nehemiah Action with me as participants.
And my name is Sandra Hines, a team leader from Gill Creek Baptist Church, and I have personally confirmed 13 people to attend the Nehemiah Action with me as participants. Let us first explain why we have a Nehemiah Action. Our action is named after the prophet Nehemiah, who heard cries of injustice from his people about how predatory moneylenders took advantage of a drought by stealing food, land, and even selling children into slavery to pay off debts. Nehemiah knew he was called here to do justice and to hold those in power accountable. The only issue was that he alone did not have enough power to change their minds. So he organized a great assembly, calling on all the people of Jerusalem to come and bear witness. Then he brought the moneylenders before this great assembly, asking them to make things right. When faced with the people power, the moneylenders could not refuse. Today, we follow Nehemiah's example by bringing hundreds of people together to fight injustice in Columbia. And we invite our elected officials before our combined congregants' people power.
As network members, we must be like Nehemiah. We must call on our people to come and bear witness, because so often decisions that impact all of us are made by only a few people and behind closed doors. The people most impacted by community problems are the ones who are left out. At our Nehemiah Action, we open these conversations to the public to allow everyone to have a seat at the table. But that only happens if we extend the invitation.
Organize people with a purpose. That is what we want to be on March 18th. To be organized, we use our existing network, the people all of us individually already know, your family, friends, fellow congregants, neighbors, or co-workers. We talk to these connections about why this work of justice is important to us, how it could be important to them, and invite them to take the steps by bearing witness at the Nehemiah Action. There's a handout on page 3 in your agenda that gives you examples on how to have these conversations. Through these invitations, we work together to build teams of people who want to be in this fight for a better community.
Now that we know why we hold the Nehemiah Action, let's share how the Nehemiah Action works. You have a handout on page 4 of your agenda with all of the details. The Nehemiah Action is where we present our research and then ask for concrete next steps from relevant officials. We only ask yes or no questions that are within the power of the official to do. At council meetings, officials are not allowed to vote maybe on important decisions for our community. So we continue the same process at our event. Then, once the officials have given a clear yes or a clear no, they have the opportunity to explain their answer. Again, we borrow from council meetings where there are time limits for public commenters, so we ask officials to observe similar rules at the action. To make sure that everyone is prepared to have this conversation in public, we provide all of our questions in writing to our officials beforehand and offer to meet to cover the information with them.
The Nehemiah Action is also where we negotiate. If an official says no to one of our questions, we begin what we call negotiations. This means we ask questions to ensure that everyone, including the official, fully understands the severity of the issue, the evidence for the presented solution, and the real outcome if we leave the Eau Claire High School auditorium without next steps to address the problem. Our goal here is to leave with the yes. We do not want to argue with officials, and we do not plan on it. However, we cannot accept a no without speaking for the thousands of our neighbors who go hungry every night, without thinking about those of us who do not have a safe place to live, without remembering those who have lost their lives to senseless gun violence. We understand that the political process is complex, but we cannot stand by another second while our siblings suffer in a place we are supposed to make more like the city of God. So we will negotiate on behalf of ourselves and our neighbors, because something needs to be done, and together we have the power to make it happen.
The Nehemiah Action is where we speak and respond as the community with one voice. Even if you are not the prepared negotiator up on the stage, every person in the room matters during the negotiation. The Nehemiah Action is an active event, not a passive one. Our role as network members and invitees is to pay attention and only cheer and celebrate when we've gotten a clear yes. Otherwise, we remain silent together. There is power in our silence. Silence creates tension. Tension shows us the disconnect between the world as it is and the world as it should be. It's uncomfortable, but that tension is necessary for the enormous job we're taking on. In a moment, we'll go over the 7 Ds to help you learn what to keep an eye out for when deciding to cheer or to remain silent.
And finally, and most importantly, the Nehemiah Action is where our people power is the strongest. That said, the Nehemiah Action is only successful if each and every one of you bring 3 people with you to stand in the gap with us. Let me say it again. The Nehemiah Action is only successful if each and every one of you bring 3 people to stand in the gap with us. This is the most important commitment that we have as network members. This is a commitment that we actually build our collective people power. As network members, we are the reason that we have had success. If I alone went to the mayor and asked him to take a step to address gun violence, do you think he would feel the pressure to take action? No. Even if we were at the table with 50 people, that cannot compare to turning out hundreds of people who are speaking with one voice. Our people power make it clear to our officials that this is where their priorities should be.
Leaning into healthy tension is not something that most of us grew up doing. We must challenge ourselves to lean into discomfort, and we must challenge our community to be better, because lives are literally at stake. To create a community more reflective of God's kingdom, we must have persistence in our demand for change. Will you bring 3? Yes. Let me ask you again. Will you bring 3? Yes. Thank you. Together, we can transform our community. Now, what do we want? More justice. When do we want it? Now. Thank you.
Hello. Good evening. Each of us up here will share examples for each of the 7 Ds, which you can find on page 5 of your agenda. The 7 Ds are common actions taken by public officials to diffuse tension, to shift responsibility, to confuse our members, and reduce the effectiveness of our people power. The first step in responding to the 7 Ds at the Nehemiah Action is first recognizing them. These are real-life examples that leaders who are in this room have experienced as part of our work as more justice. So let's get started.
Deflect. Decision makers shift the focus away from themselves. They point to another department or staff member or completely change the subject or issue. For example, our Food Justice Committee was told several times by different city officials that the Food Policy Committee had all of the answers we needed. So we went to them. And they told us to go to the city, to which the city told us to go to the Parks and Recreation Department, who told us their programs aren't intended to address food insecurity, and to go back to the city once more.
Delay. Officials give excuses, some that may sound good and reasonable, for slowing down, changing deadlines, or setting endless meetings with no resolution. For example, during our mental health campaign, upon asking personnel from the Columbia Area Mental Health Center for data on the services people require, we were told, well, I went to pull the data, but the folks at the Department of Mental Health told me that we couldn't give it to you, thus delaying our ability to understand the problem.
Deny. Officials refuse to meet with us. They're too busy, not in. It's a bad time. Or they refuse to make any agreements. This is also called stonewalling. Sometimes they will even deny there is a problem at all. For example, during our education campaign concerning extensive out-of-school suspensions for elementary-age students, superintendents and school board members would continually deny the problem and would blame parents and say discipline starts at home. If we are suspending, expelling, and arresting children from school, it's because their parents haven't taught them right.
Deceive. Decision makers lead us to believe that something is being done or will be done, though no action is actually happening. They might say, we're all in this together, and any lack of progress is explained away by rules and regulations and bureaucracy out of their control. For example, certain Richland County Council members had said that they are committed to doing something about the housing crisis and have said that they want community engagement. Yet those council members have refused to meet with us. When constituents emailed asking one council member to meet with More Justice, they responded that emailing was very extreme and a gross overreaction.
Divide. Officials went over a few key leaders, provide symbolic concessions, or even offer special side deals. They raise issues to create internal division among the group. Then try to separate the group. There may be verbal attacks on staff or selected leaders. You're okay. It's your organization that's a problem. For example, in a meeting to focus on gun violence, a former council member singled out Black clergy at the meeting and said that they should be talking to their own people in their own congregations. He implied that Black clergy have the responsibility of solving gun violence by influencing their predominantly Black congregations. And that would do more to reduce gun violence than talking to the city council.
Discredit and destroy. The decision makers discredit organizational positions, facts, credibility, meeting format, and goals in public and/or in small meetings with strategic people, saying things like, your organization is too confrontational, or I don't agree with your research. They may attempt to make our organization look incompetent, unreasonable, or unnecessary to the community at large. For example, as we were preparing for the Nehemiah action in 2019, public officials we were holding accountable pushed not one, but 2 churches to cancel our reservation for the Nehemiah action. This forced us to scramble for a venue and book the Koger Center for the event just days before the action.
Discount. Officials may dismiss the power of the organization or the severity of the problem. They may even discount their own power as decision makers, saying they don't have the ability to do anything. They might suggest that the problem you're working on isn't really that important, or question the legitimacy of your organization and its efforts. For example, we've been told that we don't have skin in the game when it comes to addressing gun violence. In reality, we address the root causes of gun violence every day with our ministries in our congregations. We provide tutoring for kids who need it, food pantries for hungry families, and we give rental assistance when a neighbor can't pay rent. Even more, we are the community members who are suffering from losing family members and being afraid for our children in schools. It's our clergy who are burying the gunshot victims.
These are real examples that have happened to our real More Justice leaders over the past 7 years. When we want change in our community, we will run into problems. There will always be people who benefit from the status quo and those who are afraid of change. Understanding different ways our public officials can respond makes us a very strong adversary, because we are prepared to brace the storm and stand in the gap. Because every time we are uncomfortable, we remember that because of us, thousands of more people will know where their next meal is coming from. Because of the tension we hold, families all over Richland County will find a roof to put over their heads. Because of our advocacy, gun violence will be cut in half. We may be uncomfortable, but we have no choice, because we see the vision of the city more like the kingdom of God, and we know that this is a worthy fight. Will you stand in the gap?
Yes.
Will you brace the storm?
Yes.
What do you want?
More justice.
And when do you want it?
Now.
Thank you.
My name is Tammy Ashford Carroll, and I am a team leader at Bethel AME and a member of the Food Justice Steering Committee. I have personally confirmed 2 people to attend the Nehemiah action with me as participants.
My name is Trisha Morris, and I'm a team leader here at Trinity Episcopal Cathedral and also a member of the Food Justice Steering Committee. I have personally confirmed 4 people to attend the Nehemiah action with me as participants. Last year, we collectively and almost unanimously voted to work on food insecurity. We learned that 65,000 people in Richland County alone suffer from food insecurity. This problem is huge. That's why we're standing up and telling our city that you gotta include food.
In 2017, the City of Columbia created the Food Policy Committee and asked them to come up with recommendations for the city to implement. But by the time we got involved in 2022, nothing had changed. Meanwhile, our worse-off neighbors in the 29203 and 29204 zip codes lost grocery stores and ended up with only 4 stores to feed over 60,000 people. To understand how big that deficit is, 29223 has a similar amount of people to feed and has 12 grocery stores, 3 times more. Please raise your hand if you live, work, or worship in 29203 or 29204. Because of this lack of healthy and affordable food, 29203 has one of the highest rates in the nation for diabetic amputees, making it one of the most medically dangerous communities to live in.
Last year, the city received federal pandemic relief and allocated $300,000 to address food insecurity. With this money, the city created 3 new programs. One, to cover grocery delivery fees for our neighbors without the ability to get to a store. Another, to incentivize new stores to come into the neighborhoods that need them the most. And finally, the mobile market to bring food into neighborhoods now. Our people showing up at the Nehemiah Action to make food justice a priority made a difference. In 1 year, the city went from not prioritizing food insecurity at all to having 3 brand new programs working together to address the issue from multiple sides.
This progress is the momentum we need to push the needle because these programs are just the first step. We have 65,000 people to feed, and no singular program or even 3 are going to solve that. Our job is not done, so what's next?
As we heard last assembly, Tom's Creek Family Farms was awarded an initial contract, but it's only for 18 months, and we're on month 7, so there are only 11 months left. And then it's supposed to run without city funding. Our research tells us that mobile markets need outside financial support to ensure they're accessible to low-income populations, and they need at least 3 years to establish themselves in the community and become successful.
The city's contract with Tom's Creek has the potential for up to 4.5 total years of partnership. When we asked the city if they will commit to those 4.5 years, we were told to wait and see how it performs first. We can't afford to wait and see. We have done our research with mobile markets across the country, so we don't have to wait and see. Mobile markets are proven as one of the most effective methods to address food insecurity. Here's why.
Food insecurity is driven by 2 primary factors. 1, financial resources, and 2, physical access. Mobile markets address financial resources by using SNAP and money doubling programs like Healthy Bucks. This makes the markets one of, if not the cheapest option available. Customers with SNAP choose to spend their money at mobile markets more than almost anywhere else because they can get more food for a lower price.
As for physical access, there are so few programs that have the ability to address this issue. So mobile markets, a store on wheels that can bring the food to the people who need it most, are one of the only solutions that can serve both factors. Because of this, 80% of mobile market customers eat more fruits and vegetables and have greater access to healthy food than before they started shopping there.
The most encouraging statistic we found during our research was this: a singular mobile market program has the potential to feed up to 10,000 people per year. 10,000. If we had 6 mobile market programs, we could potentially solve food insecurity for Richland County. However, 10,000 is only possible when the market is operating at maximum capacity. When we researched national trends, we learned that the lowest number of service locations that a mobile market should have is 9. Our mobile market currently has 3.
So the 2 steps that we want to see the city take in order to one day arrive at this God-given goal of solving food insecurity in the Midlands are, number 1, we want Columbia City Council to prioritize this problem with a long-term commitment by securing a budget line item for food insecurity. This could be used for funding the current mobile market's entire available contract, to establish more mobile markets in the future, or create new food insecurity solutions beyond the markets. Number 2, we want the current mobile market to increase the number of locations it serves so we can ensure that as many people as possible get access to this resource. We know mobile markets have successfully solved food insecurity when they are funded and supported in other locations. Let's make sure the 65,000 people have access to a mobile market as soon as possible.
We need to build our people power so that food insecurity is a thing of the past. To do that, we need to build urgency around this problem. So today, we have an action step for all of you. If you have thought that food insecurity really doesn't affect me or my congregation, listen up. More Justice is hosting a food walk this Saturday, March 2nd, from 2 to 3:30 p.m. We will intentionally take time to listen to the stories of those impacted by food insecurity, and then we will actually put ourselves in the shoes of others to understand the harsh realities of living food insecure. We will start at the More Justice office in 29203 and walk to the nearest grocery store together. If you're worried about how long that walk is, what the weather will be like, or how safe that walk is, or you're thinking to yourself, no way, you're already getting it. Every day, thousands of our neighbors don't get that choice. They have to make that walk. So we ask that everyone who is able makes that walk just this once. Please email Sydney if you plan to attend. When we say you gotta include, you say food. You gotta include. Food. You gotta include. Food. You gotta include. Food. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Reverend K. A. Grady, and I'm the pastor of Reed Chapel AME Church and a member of the Gun Violence Steering Committee. I personally have confirmed 6 persons to attend the Nehemiah Action with me as participants.
I am Pastor Eric Fink, serve at Living Springs Lutheran Church and a member of the More Justice executive team. So far, I've personally confirmed 4 folks to attend Nehemiah with me.
Our communities are in a public health crisis, a crisis of gun violence that is tearing apart families, destroying lives, and leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. With 88 gun violence victims reported in Columbia last year, we see a slight decrease from 2022. Gun violence, however, remains an issue that demands immediate attention and action. The fact that even one life is lost to gun violence is one too many. All of us can contest to the fact that as we watch the news and read newspapers, every single day we see more victims of gun violence. We cannot simply accept this as the new normal. We cannot continue to live in fear, wondering if our loved ones are next or even if our congregations are safe. We must continue to take action, and we must do it now.
In fall of 2019, our More Justice members overwhelmingly voted to prioritize community gun violence for research and action. After extensive research in 2021, we pushed for the Chief of Police to allocate funds toward Group Violence Intervention, or GVI. After refusals from the Chief and then Mayor to attend that Nehemiah Action, we continued to fight for solutions to address gun violence in our community. A year later, at the 2022 Nehemiah Action, we asked newly elected Mayor Rickaman for a gun violence problem analysis to be conducted. Through our research, we had found that a comprehensive problem analysis done by outside experts with fresh eyes is a first and essential step to implementing any local strategy to reduce community gun violence. Such an analysis gives deep understanding of gun violence so that a city knows best how to use its resources to get to the root of the problem and to address it effectively. The pushback we received from various officials was that the $50,000 it would take to conduct a thorough problem analysis through the reputable National Network for Safe Communities, or NNSC, was out of the city's budget. Officials also claimed that the City of Columbia did not need such a comprehensive problem analysis because they already had done their own analysis, that there was not any information they didn't already have, and that they had had a conversation with the NNSC director. Even in the face of such responses and adversity, More Justice continued to push for solutions to community gun violence. We persevered forward, and at the 2022 Nehemiah Action Assembly, Mayor Rickaman presented in front of you, God's people gathered in public, a proposal, and then afterward, the city approved an over $800,000 budget for the establishment of the Office of Violent Crime Prevention.
In 2022, after a research visit, the very next day, we found out that the City of Columbia called the National Network for Safer Communities. The City Council's decision to allocate over $800,000 to establish an Office of Violent Crime Prevention while claiming that $50,000 for a problem analysis was not in the city's budget was and is a concerning contradiction. While the establishment of such an office is a step in the right direction, it is essential to understand that root causes of gun violence, it is essential to understand the root causes of gun violence to effectively address the issue. A comprehensive problem analysis would provide valuable insights and guide the city's efforts to reduce violent crime. More Justice members have pushed for the City of Columbia to prioritize funding for prevention as well as analysis to create a safer community for all citizens. The problem analysis would help pinpoint the root cause and the underlying causes of gun violence. More Justice has been at the forefront of pushing the city to address gun violence. The National Network for Safe Communities has taught that there are 3 causes of gun violence: poor education, a lack of affordable housing, and a lack of jobs. And more importantly, a lack of jobs with a living wage. A problem analysis will show us how to address those issues.
Since last year's Nehemiah Action, we have been active in reaching out to work with the Office of Violent Crime Prevention and its director, Mr. Trevor Fordham, who has hosted various listening sessions to get community input on solutions to address gun violence here in Columbia. On February 13th, we were informed by Mr. Fordham that some type of problem analysis for Columbia was performed by an outside organization, the Community Justice Action Fund. On this Thursday, February 29th at 11 a.m., we have a follow-up meeting with Mr. Fordham to get more details. We are hopeful that this analysis was thorough and can be a first step to seeing real progress toward making the Midlands a safer community. However, we also remain vigilant and move forward requesting that more information and details on this analysis be made accessible to the public. Public safety must begin with the public. At our Nehemiah Action, we plan to get responses about the full content of this recent analysis, the exact questions that were addressed, the results, and more information about the organization that conducted it.
Our public officials have listened to More Justice's call for action. They've taken the first step towards creating a safer community by establishing the Office of Violent Crime Prevention. We should be proud of our work. Even though we have not gotten exactly what we asked for, our people power has pushed the city to prioritize this problem. Without More Justice pressing them to get a verified problem analysis through the National Network for Safer Communities, we doubt the city would have done one on their own. It's interesting that when More Justice first asked for a problem analysis, the police department and sheriff's department refused to do so. What changed? An increase in gun violence. More Justice has remained persistent and present. This lets us know that the work we do with More Justice in Columbia and in Richland County is effective. As King said, a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Our perseverance matters. Our work matters.
Amen. And the work is far from over. Together we must create a safer, stronger Columbia. As we persevere ahead, it's vital to remember we are not alone. We are part of a greater plan, a divine vision for a world where peace and safety reign for all people. In God's vision for our communities, we are called to seek justice and mercy for everyone. We are called to stand up for the oppressed and marginalized, to speak out against injustice, to stand up for those suffering from violence, to work towards a world where all people are treated with dignity and respect.
We are called to be agents of change. We are called to be the hands and feet that bring hope and healing to those in need. We are called to work together across lines of race, religion, and nationality to build a world where all people can live in peace and security. We're called to build God's kingdom on earth. As we strive to create a safer community, a safer Columbia, and a safer Richland County, let us remember God's vision for our world. Let's work together in faith and love. Martin L. King said, "We must live together as brethren and sisters or die together as fools." Let's never forget our biblical mandate to pursue justice, love mercy, and to walk humbly before thy God.
When we say we will not rest, please reply, no more gun deaths. We will not rest.
No more gun deaths.
We will not rest.
No more gun deaths.
We will not rest.
Good evening. My name is Jim Zeeke. I'm from Living Springs Lutheran Church on Hardscrabble Road, where construction never ends. I have personally confirmed 4 people to attend the Nehemiah Action with me as participants.
Good evening. I'm Jim's twin. My name is James Woodley, and I have the privilege of serving the Gill Creek Baptist Church. And I have confirmed 3 people to attend the Nehemiah Action.
We are gathered here today to discuss a very serious problem in our community. That problem is the stunning lack of affordable housing rental units in our county. There are over 16,000 working families and individuals in Richland County who should be able to find a safe, affordable rental, but they cannot.
We have heard stories of seniors on fixed incomes constantly looking for new housing because the raised rents, parents unable to support their children because they themselves are struggling to make ends meet, people working over 40 hours a week and still not making enough to pay their rent, some people choosing between a roof, food, or medication every month, essential workers unable to afford somewhere safe to live, people are hospitalized because of their unhealthy homes, and the same families year after year still unable to find housing and just waiting for something to change.
And through our research, we know that these stories are backed up by the data. In 2023, the hourly wage required to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Richland County was $21.63. For someone making minimum wage, they would have to work 3 full-time jobs to pay for a 2-bedroom apartment. The most common jobs in our area: waiters, cashiers, home health aides, janitors, retail workers, nursing assistants, office clerks, customer service representatives, construction laborers, landscapers, groundskeepers, all our friends, all people we know are among those that cannot afford a place to live.
So what is More Justice proposing we do about it? More Justice has researched and worked towards a solution for over 4 years and has come up with a proposal that will tackle the root cause of the affordable rental housing problem, namely the lack of supply. Our solution is for the county to establish an affordable housing trust fund. This trust fund is a flexible tool that will leverage city dollars to create thousands of affordable apartments and homes over the next 10 years that will stay affordable for the long run. We have found that affordable housing trust funds are tried and tested vehicles for creating affordable housing around the country.
One thing that becomes clear to us over the last year is that there is a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding when it comes to affordable housing solutions. So we are going to take a minute and debunk some of these misconceptions. Myth number one, this fund will continue to make developers and landlords richer. That is not true. The fund will simply encourage developers to create or rehabilitate affordable rental units in our community. There is very little profit in these developments because rentals are capped for at least 30 years. Sometimes the financing available to developers will not cover the costs of an affordable housing project, so nothing gets built. To make such developments more likely, we need this trust fund. So no one is getting rich on the back of the trust fund. It is simply attracting developers to invest in affordable housing in our country.
Myth number two, the laws of supply and demand will fix the affordable housing problem on its own. We have learned from our research that waiting for the laws of supply and demand to autocorrect this issue is unrealistic. Instead, we need a tool like this to incentivize affordable housing developers to come to our city. While, yes, increasing supply of market rate units should lower the prices of all units, there is no evidence that rents would ever fall to a level within reach of those earning less than 80% of the area median income. In other words, to those who need it the most.
Myth number three, low-income housing is unattractive and destructive to a community in the long run. Historically, affordable housing has had a bad reputation. But affordable housing is no longer what it once was. Affordable housing in 2024 is intentionally designed and is built to high standards and is often mixed income. The only difference between market rate and affordable rental developments is how it's financed and who lives there. Teachers, police officers, clerks, people we know, people we love.
Myth number four, it's not the local government's responsibility to build or create affordable housing. We're not asking the local government to build affordable housing. However, from our research, we have learned that unless a county has skin in the game to attract affordable housing developers, then very little affordable housing will be built. It's just that simple.
So with all that said, what will we be looking for in this year's Nehemiah Action? Since the last Nehemiah Action, we have made significant progress towards our goal. Councilman Livingston has been an instrumental part of that. One of our short-term goals was to make sure that affordable housing was on the strategic planning agenda for 2024. Because when that happens and it's on the agenda, it is a top priority for council. And in January, affordable housing was in fact on that strategic planning agenda. And as a result, an ad hoc committee was formed that will support affordable housing. I need everybody to stand up and clap your hands. More justice makes a difference. Having a dedicated group working towards affordable housing goals in the county will make a huge difference. Right now, we are in the process of working with allies to get the $4 million we have won allocated towards an affordable housing trust fund and get recurring funding to get houses built for our neighbors.
Our community is at a crossroads, and we have an important choice to make. Will we choose the path that succumbs to Pharaoh's narrative of scarcity and despair? Will we throw our hands up and let luxury developers determine what affordable housing means for our community? Or will we choose the other path, the path where God's people come together and fight for affordable housing? Like air to breathe and food to eat, safe shelter is a basic human need, and our community members are struggling to find it. The path towards a more just and equitable community is not the easy one, but it is the only one. And so we ask again, what is our call?
Housing for all.
What is our call?
Housing for all.
What is our call?
Housing for all.
Thank you, Twin.
Brother Woodley.
All right, y'all. Housing to get you right? Everybody, just wake up a second. We're going to wake you up with some more calls. First call is, what is our call? And what is our more justice call? What do we want? More justice. And when do we want it? Now. All right. We're going to get it. So we had to make a few adjustments. It's just me. I know on your program it says David. He's here in spirit. But my name is Robin Campbell. I am a team leader at Rehoboth Baptist Church and a housing steering committee member. I have personally confirmed 4 people attending the Nehemiah Action. I pray those 4 people still attend and pray to have some more. But every year, you guys, I'm here to talk about money. So every year as network members, we are each invited to invest in making justice a reality for our community. We ask $200 or any meaningful amount to you. And I'm going to take this down because I'm just too short. Okay. It's a box. What? I'm going to just pull it this way. It's just driving me nuts because I'm a little short. Okay. All right, that works. All right, so investing is not required as a network member, but we do know and we do want everyone to consider what is possible for you. Oh. Y'all know I'm 6'1" at heart anyway. Thank you. So I was asked, how much is the ministry worth to me? I believe this ministry is worth more money than I can ever give. The work that we do here, it's paying off, you guys. It's not paying off just for me or other members of the community, but the ancestors that will follow in our footsteps. So the amount that this ministry means to me, there is no amount, there's no number, but it is in my heart, and every bit of the justice ministry is worth every dollar I can give. This year, again, we ask about $200. I'm investing $250. I'm not doing $250 all at once because I'm not built like that, but I will be splitting it into payments, and I encourage you guys as well, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, be encouraged to make sure that you're donating or that you're giving. We don't want to stretch you, but we do want you to be committed to something that you feel like is worth it. Amen? All right. So last year, More Justice Network members gracefully invested, y'all want to hear? $90,000, y'all. $90,000, yes. For the vision of God's kingdom justice here in this community. So because of your investments, we've seen the mobile market that was discussed. Affordable housing is a priority. Affordable housing is a priority. And we have a committee, God bless you. We have a committee dedicated, a commitment dedicated to spending that $4 million. So because of your investment, we also have the Office of Violent Crime Prevention. So your investment does matter. That $90,000, you guys, give yourself a round of applause. That was all you guys, and the best is yet to come. So imagine if we could bring over $100,000 this year. I can imagine the Midlands where we have a fully funded, affordable housing trust fund. Can you imagine? Columbia, where food pantries, not just the 3 that was discussed, but maybe that possible 9, and soup kitchens close because the need is so low. I can see Columbia as a safe place where everybody rests knowing that their loved ones will not be the next victims of gun violence. Think of the possibilities we have with more resources. This year, we set a goal to break our records. We want to raise that $100,000 in individual investments. Tonight, I invite you to prayerfully consider increasing your investments this year. As we move the needle in our ownership, we will in turn have the capacity to hire more staff, to bring in more congregations, to recruit more team leaders and more network members, and thus building our power, our people power, to do more justice. Another piece of our investment drive is the corporate drive, where we build relationships with businesses in the area and invite them to invest in our work. If you or someone you know has a connection to a business, then please write this on your individual caucus form, and more justice staff will reach out to you for more information. Examples might be an insurance company, lawyers, dentist office, funeral homes. No business is too small, and no business is too large. We want our members to truly see that justice work is worth their time, their talents, and their treasure. In your caucuses, reflect on what this ministry means to you. Prayerfully consider investing in this work. If you want to turn in all or part of your investment tonight, you can do it with cash, check, or online. We also have pledge cards available, the green cards, available to make your commitment this year. Again, you can break down your payments, you guys. You don't have to do it all at once. Working together as individuals, congregations, organizations, and businesses allow our communities to build our power and to do justice. So what do we want?
More justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
More justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
Thank you. It's caucus time. Wake up.
All right, this is the caucus portion of the evening, and we are going to cut our time down because we're running behind, and More Justice never runs behind. So, my name is Peggy Carey. I'm a team leader from Forest Lake Presbyterian.
Yeah, my name is R.D. Folsom, and I'm a network member from Forest Lake Presbyterian.
And he's not Ellen Skidmore.
I'm not Ellen Skidmore.
We are now headed into, okay, now we're going to get all of our numbers down. Everybody get ready. Has everybody looked at their white sheet, caucus form? Everybody's got one. We're individually filling them out. Okay, to just see if we're hitting our goals. Your turn.
Okay, the first thing I need you to know here is this form right here. Every person in this room needs to fill this out. It says the Rally Individual Caucus Form, and give it to your caucus leader tonight. And I'm going to say it again, fill it out and give it to your caucus leader tonight. Fill out the top portion of it with your name, your congregation, and your contact information. It's self-explanatory. Then the most important list on that is the names of those that you have invited or are planning to invite to the rally.
No, the
Nehemiah Action. And you should mark who have confirmed and who have not confirmed to attend that.
If you're a team leader, please raise your hand. Okay, you people are the ones leading each of your congregations in this process. So you all on your congregation look to their leadership. Team leaders, each congregation was given a congregational reporting form. It's yellow. All right. And it has the step-by-step instructions So please keep to those to stay on track and on time.
Okay, we also have the investment pledge cards available. If anyone wants to fill this out tonight and leave your investment with us, make sure that Lizzie receives this directly, okay? But otherwise, you can hand it in with this.
All right, we'll have 10 minutes to caucus. When everyone has completed their individual forms, the team leaders should tally up the totals for your entire congregation. Then each congregation will have one representative report back on the total numbers for your congregation. Your Nehemiah action goal, the number of network members you have tonight, the number of invitees you all have confirmed to attend the action, the remaining number of invitees you are all going to follow up with, and how much your congregation has pledged to invest. Team leaders, you can find the exact script to prepare and read from on the congregational caucus form. All right, and when you're done, please line up here in front of the altar rail, and you're going to put all your forms in this big box. All right.
All right, that's all the information we have right now. The caucuses can start.
Okay. All right, let's go to work.
Yeah.
As congregations are done, please come and bring your one person forward to fill out this form. To announce, but we're trying to streamline it as much as physically possible. Action goal? I know. Network members here tonight. Confirmed invitees. Remaining invitees. Pledges? Yeah. Can one of you come and do math while I'm doing this? Like, specifically, I think confirmed invitees. Okay, great.
7 up.
All right, you're up here.
Okay, 50 is our goal. We have 6 here tonight, 11, and 14, and 17. I know.
Pass it off. I am still waiting for numbers from Rehoboth, Gill Creek, Reed Chapel, Pine Grove, and Trinity.
This is mine. Oh, yeah, this is mine. Where's your?
What do we need to do?
Let's wait till she tells us.
Lizzie, are you going to give us the minutes that we're supposed to?
Oh, good. Good, good. So we can go. So we finished?
I think we're finished.
Good.
If you have not given me your numbers, please come see me in this corner. Other than that, I'm going to pass it off to Reverend Judith to close us out.
When I was a young girl, my mom made a little box for me to stand on in the pulpit because it was about this large and I was, like 4 feet at the time. I heard recently that that box is still in use by the other young girls in my church. So I am Reverend Judith Myers. I am the pastor of Emmanuel Baptist Fellowship and am also a member of the More Justice Executive Board. I have personally confirmed 5 people for the Nehemiah Action. Friends, we have gathered together in this space this evening to get excited for the Nehemiah Action. We have solidified our asks, we have invited our elected officials, our friends, our community members, we've yelled our chants. Yeah. Okay. We have prepared ourselves and are ready for the Nehemiah Action come March 18th. And as we leave this place today, I have a reason why this work is important to me that I wanted to share with you real quickly. So I have been on staff at Columbia College for about 1.5 years now. This case management position was created for the students who are experiencing crises, mostly financial. It's what happens when they are cut off from their parents. It's what happens when they don't get their student refund check in time, checks that many of our students live off of for the year, the loans they take out that if they're like many of our other young Americans won't be able to afford to pay them back. And I know what many of you are thinking, well, they're in college. What kind of crisis can they be experiencing? Well, students, even those who live on campus with a meal plan, are still food insecure. Students who cannot afford to stay on campus during breaks, but can't go home because it's physically or emotionally unsafe, have nowhere else to go. So I work with students who come from homeless shelters or from the children's home. I work with students who, for the very first time, have to call and make appointments by themselves, who now have to pay for car insurance, health insurance, all while working a measly minimum wage job, even on campus. Or the students who work off campus, but struggle because, as we've noted, the bus system, which runs right through our campus, is often too early or too late and unreliable. I work with these students on a daily basis, and they are so resilient, and they are amazing human beings who are trying their hardest, who are striving to break their generational cycle of poverty. We have a large population of first-generation college students, and I could not be more proud of the students that I work with. And then I walk out to my car and remember that the zip code where my students live, eat, play, and learn is that of 29203, one of the hungriest zip codes in the Midlands area. I consider my students' experiences and am confident that they run parallel to those who live right outside the school's gates. That those issues are very similar. Not making a living wage, not having access to fresh or affordable foods, transportation issues, rents that continue to rise, and eviction notice that are nailed on the doors way too often. This is their reality. This is my students' reality. And while it shouldn't be anyone's reality, I am proud and honored to do this work with you all. Because when we are advocating for a mobile market, when we are advocating for affordable housing, it's for my students. It's for my students. It's for the community outside of those college gates. And I am so thankful. It's a beautiful thing to be able to come together with our people power, making a change. So friends, as we have finished the numbers, we know that we have confirmed the total amount so far coming to the Nehemiah Action is 378. We applaud that now and know that we still have lots of people to invite. 575, that's nothing. That's nothing for a group like this. And keep in mind at the action that if you see a large amount of college students, those are my babies. So as we part, I invite you to join your spirit in prayer with my own. Holy love, we have most certainly felt your spirit with us this evening. We have listened to holy stories that are often hard to hear. We have discerned what it means to do justice in our own community. And we are excited and prepared for our action next month. In the midst of all that is, we ask for your guidance and protection. And as we continue this hard and holy work, stay with us. Keep us concerned, keep us aggravated, and keep us focused on the work that is ours to do. In the name of the divine, we pray. Amen. Cannot wait to see you next month, Monday, March 18th, for the Nehemiah Action at Eau Claire High School, and cannot wait to see you this Saturday, March 2nd, for our food insecurity walk. Peace be with you.